Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today I want to talk about that time that I overpaid for my Amazing Spider-Man number 300 in the CGC 9.8. Because it was one of the first videos I did on the channel here. Just, I was a little bit bummed in the video talking about how I'd made some kind of noob mistakes. Just going out there and buying it in like a promotion-filled environment and just not doing any pricing research in the 9.8 and just going on eBay and kind of buying the first one I saw. Like, I just made every mistake. So it was just a sort of like a learn from my experience type of video that we made. But this video will be a happy video because some of these recent prices in Amazing Spider-Man 300 in the CGC 9.8 are pretty ridiculous. We kind of touched on this in a couple videos in the past here. But even looking on eBay, one sold for $5,200 just in a direct edition CGC 9.8. So I overpaid for mine at $2,500. That's how much I overpaid for it back then. That's how much I paid for it. So clearly it's kind of worked out over time with a little bit of patience. It's all worked out. And I want to make an important point here. Yeah, and it's an important point just about, I think, investments in general. But the point is, like, if you buy a special asset and you're patient, a lot of times that's going to work out. Like that, those two things together, buy something really special and be really patient, you're almost always going to be rewarded. Even in this case, like, I got the timing all wrong. Like, even if you kind of mess up the timing sometimes, if you're patient, a lot of times it'll come around and things will work out, much like what happened with the Amazing Spider-Man 300. And I got two of them in the 9.8. One of them I bought for an even better price, a more fair price back then, which was right around $2,000. But a really important point there that I wanted to make, and the whole crux of that point, I think, is finding this special asset and identifying this special asset. That's really tough. Amazing Spider-Man 300, factually and sort of just intrinsically, I think, is one of these specialist, if that's even a word, 1980s CGC 9.8 comic books that you can buy. Like, it's got the low 9.8 ratio, like a lot of special things about it. So I do want to get into the book here and talk about the census and the pricing a little bit more and why it is so special. Quick example here with the stock market to illustrate, because my sort of main thing, my sort of initial profession, I guess, is in the stock market. That's why I can kind of buy 9.8s and do these videos and have a pretty easy life, I think, is because all through my late teens and all my 20s, I just saved and invested pretty ruthlessly, I would say. In the stock market, this sort of special asset and being really patient has really worked out for me. Like, I think there's the stocks that I've owned for a really long time. I've owned the same type of stocks for the last 5 or 10 years. It's been about the same stocks. I think they were special then. I think they're still special now. And the point I want to make, though, is, back in the last 5 or 10 years, I can think of a couple times where I mistimed my purchases on some of my special stocks. Now, though, 5 to 10 years later, literally on some of those mistimed purchases, I'm up like 200, 300% on those holdings, like still holding them because, again, I kind of just running with the same great companies, special companies. So that's kind of just a stock market example of, like, I think I got pretty special companies I'm invested in. And Amazing Spider-Man 300 to me is a really special CGC 9.8 comic book that stands out. So yeah, just to drill down on that, if you buy a special asset, whether it's in comic books, stocks, or real estate, or businesses, and you're patient, a lot of times that's going to work out for you. That's going to reward you, even if you, don't get the timing perfect, which I've had that experience in the past. So a lot of times just patience really wins. So Amazing Spider-Man 300, yeah, I got 2 of them in the 9.8 and then a couple newsstands in the raw too. I always thought kind of the newsstands in the 9.8 were really rare and expensive, so I was just like, it's kind of cool to get the raws in the newsstand. And so yeah, so pumped to have these. But let's look on the census though. Amazing Spider-Man 300 in the CGC 9.8. There's 1,043 9.8s in the blue label out there. So a kind of a 1 of 1,043. Origin and first appearance of Venom, this one. You know, classic Todd McFarlane cover, a lot of things to love about that. But even on the census, what's even better is the CGC 9.8 percentage. It's 5.7% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8. That's really like an era low for a comic book. Of all graded copies, yeah, only 5.7% of them are CGC 9.8s. That's so extremely rare. It's class leading for an 80s book, except Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 first print is the only other book I know that's more rare in the 9.8 from this era. But that one's so low printed. There's only 20 something of them. Like it's a completely different type of book, and it's like $70,000 I think in the 9.8. So this one, just class leading rarity. That 9.8 ratio, I say the lower the better. The single digits, they get really investment grade. I always get excited about single digit CGC 9.8 ratios. And this one at 5.7% is rock bottom for a 1988 book. Yeah, just class leading. So that's why I kind of say, like, Amazing Spider-Man, you got the facts on your side. 5.7% rock bottom, 9.8 rarity is the facts on your side. And then the intrinsic value, I think, is the origin and first appearance of Venom. Such a huge sort of anti-hero, the first symbiote. The Amazing Spider-Man 300, the homage cover, amazing, homaged a million times now. Like, all generations of comic enthusiasts know it because it's just been homaged a million times. So this is the original. That's huge, I think, too. So pricing for Amazing Spider-Man 300, obviously I overpaid for mine. It was $2,500, the overpay. One selling on eBay for $5,200, like a couple weeks ago. Interesting though, a off-white to white copy sold on eBay in an auction for $3,951. $3,951 off-white to white CGC 9.8 white pages. That's really interesting. Yeah, you know, I was really waiting for one to kind of come up for an auction, and even in the white pages it would have been better, but this one's still a 9.8 off-white to white, to keep in mind. Right around 4,000, so maybe in an auction a white pages sells for like 4,200. That would probably be about the really solid fair market value right now in this environment. Someone paying 5,200 for one, I think is a bit of the sign of the times on this one. But yeah, you know what, with this video here, a good time as ever to kind of revisit Amazing Spider-Man 300 because it's such a great book. It stands out. Yeah, I mean, I was pounding the table recommending it the first year of this channel. In the last couple months here, these prices have got completely insane, so I'm kind of a little bit skeptical of maybe saying get in there right now. You might want to be patient and wait till after the Venom 2 movie. That's going to come out kind of early next year, I think it is. Or maybe get it in a lull in the next couple months here. It's going to be tough though, but probably the fair value is about the 4,100, 4,200 for CGC 9.8 white pages. But yeah, just to go over this, you know, as good of a time as ever to kind of go over everything. But to make that point again, an important point. It's kind of hard to identify the special assets. You do need some experience to kind of grasp what's going on and to maybe identify them. But when you do, you know, a lot of times, as I said, that important rule, these special assets, if you're patient, they almost always work out, sort of from an investment perspective, as long as you're patient. And by patience, I sort of mean at least 3 to 5 years. I've said this on past videos in the past, like, things at least usually take 5 years to work out. Like things that are meaningful and hard to do and that are going to reap rewards, and whether it's investing, real estate, education, like everything's like a 5-year thing pretty much. So this is no different. That's the amount of patience I think you need for a special asset to kind of work out. But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 300, just a good case study for me, because I was pretty bummed in that first video, like, oh damn. You know, some of the prices during that video were like $1,750, and obviously I paid $2,500, so I was kind of bummed. And you know, it kind of took some courage to even grab another one around $2,000 because I had overpaid, so I was a little bit bummed. But I'm really glad I got another one, a really nice one in a new case. But yeah, it just illustrates that point that you know, even if you overpay a little bit, if you're really patient, whether it's in stocks or if it's a good investment, if it's a, you know, a special, even better if it's a special one, above average, like that's the thing, like a special business or a special CGC 9.8 or a special real estate investment is just one that's going to be way above average than like a normal average thing. So that's, you want to always do better than average when you're trying to like invest your money. No different in comic books or stocks. For me, that's what I'm most familiar with. But yeah, just to hash out a little bit on this whole me overpaying and then the prices bouncing back, and now I'm obviously even on the overpay, it's like a double now, I guess. Around, if one's selling for above a little around 5,000, that overpay is pretty much a double. So yeah, pretty happy with that, and a good, hopefully a bit of a, you know, some lessons that everyone can take away. All right, thanks for watching today, though. I wanted to talk about Amazing Spider-Man 300. Any excuse to talk about Amazing Spider-Man 300 is a good one, and yeah, so many reasons why this one's special and to recommend it. Maybe now, you know, hopefully closer to 4,000 in the CGC 9.8, but you might want to be patient and wait till after Venom 2. Okay. Thank you very much for watching, though. Message me on Instagram if you had any questions, but really appreciate all the support from everyone. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.